Hello, good morning, and welcome to Convert Smoothly to our modern X2 HMIs with myself, Ian Meredith, from the UK, sales engineer, and Mr. Martin Hone, field application engineer for the UK too. So today, or this morning, we're going to look at, as part of the agenda, we're going to look at the X2 series, why you should choose an HMI from Beijer Electronics, how to leverage existing HMI applications with minimum effort, how you will save time with auto conversion embedded into the IX developer, and features of the X2 series HMIs and strengths of the IX HMI software. So let's look at the X2 series and why you should choose an HMI from Beijer Electronics. Prior to that, let's look at a little bit of a history around the legacy HMIs that you've probably all come across. So Beijer themselves or ourselves have been about 30 years of experience in the HMI area, dating back to 1986 and onwards. And we sold more than 2 million HMIs throughout those years. So we'd like to think we're kind of got a good understanding of what we're doing. So if you look at the timeline around the HMIs, in the early 86, 90s, we started to see the Mac series come into the marketplace, branded by different partners. Mac series products like your Mac 10, your Mac 12, two-line text displays, Mac 30s, Mac 40s, all these sort of products are probably still coming across now in the marketplace, different factories, etc., etc. And that was building up to the flagship product, which was the Mac 90, which is all the product serial comms are all programmed by a little bit of software called Mac Programmer Plus, which is really straightforward to use. In '96, we saw the release of the E series and the SimmerX series. SimmerX series being the Beijer own branded, programmed by eDesigner. Within that family, you were looking at E100s, E200s, E300s, up to flagship E900. And one of the main features of that family was the first time we introduced touchscreen technology. So you were looking at E410 and E910 HMI. So really popular family, to be fair. Moving on to 2005 is when you saw the release of the E1000 and the EXTER series, but in all instances with Beijer, still taking care of products from the previous families. There was a simple upgrade path from E series to E1000 series, just using eDesigner and the Beijer branded information designer software platform. So you could easily move from, for instance, an E710 to what was an E1000 E1070 with an adapter plate, which is one of our strengths. So within this family, as I said before, products like E1032s, E1071s as mentioned, flagship E1101, which is by far the single most popular HMI that we found in the UK. And it was the first time we released the 15-inch variant. And again, programmed by eDesigner and Information Designer. 2010 saw the release of the IX series, first widescreen HMI that we started to bring into the market. We had two flavors, TXAs and the TXBs. TXAs, a couple of different size variants, 4, 7, 10. TXBs, 7, 10, 12, and 15. Within the TXB, it was the first family of HMIs that we start to see the introduction of a soft PLC, code assist runtime embedded in a couple of the HMIs that give you the full functionality of a PLC embedded into the HMI. On the I/O side, it was dropped down or linked into either our Beijer Credits remote I/O on different platforms, Modbus TCP, Modbus, Ethercat, etc., etc. 2016, and that was programmed by IX developer, to be fair. 2016, we saw the launch of the X2 series, which is our present family. We'll go into a bit more detail a bit later. So 2018, did the dready. EXTER E1000 was announced end of life, kind of backed into a corner because it was introduced in 2005, really popular thanks to the ease of use, but solid functionality and reliable operation. Had to go down the road of end of life due to sourcing key components and technical risk of maintaining the product platform. It just became too large. Which in turn, as I said previously, 2016, the X2 series was already a family that was out there in the marketplace, released 2 years earlier than the end of life of the E1000. So it gave customers quite a bit of time to think about the transition. It was the next series in the next generation of HMIs from Beijer. 5 product families within the group. Great design, strong performance, and you can create some really smart integrated solution using the iX software. Already these products come IoT ready, and by that built-in MQTT licenses, which doesn't add any cost to the product, which means you can send your data to the cloud, starting to print off reports, database handling, etc., etc. All products come with a 2-year warranty. So why would you choose the X2 series? One family, one great design. It's robust, reliable. It's just prepared for any environment. DNV certification looks after the marine side. Zone 2, ATEX approval looks after the robust side, the ruggedized side for extreme applications. And when it comes to legacy PLCs, we've got the designer, information designer projects, easily portable into iX, which we'll go into a bit more detail later. So looking after the legacy HMIs from the previous time frame, in the product family within the X2 series, X2 base, small end, cost effective, full functional HMI, suitable for most applications, programmed by iX again, comes in 3 different flavors, a 5, a 7, a 10. When you've got legacy HMIs like TXF, TXF2, PWS, perfect to port those sort of products straight into that family. The X2 Pro, which is pretty much a family flagship product. This is where you'll be looking when it comes to an EXTER or an E1000, SimmerX, E-Series, those sort of products, TXB, TXA, all those sort of projects will be eventually ported into an X2 Pro. Available sizes from 4 to 21 inches, so it's got everything covered really. And again, like we did previously with the E-Series and the E1000 series, there are adapter plates available, so you don't really have to really worry about holes in panels really. We kind of got that covered a bit. Within the TXB family, we had the marine, so previously, but again, within the X2 family, we've got that covered with the X2 marine, built for life at sea, as it says in the PowerPoint. X2 control, as I said previously in the iX series, we had the range with the built-in PLC. The X2 control takes that to the next level. Quad-core processors, EtherCAT enabled, embedded as well. So integrated code assist. You can easily connect up to any remote I/O, predominantly EtherCAT, Modbus TCP, etc., all across the G series from Beijer. Looking at the ruggedized HMIs you've been used to with the TXBR and the Q-Term, again, we've got that covered with the X2 Extreme. Comes in 3 different flavors, 2 different in 7, 12, and 15, and 2 different variations when it's got a solid sealed version from with an IP68 connectors across the bottom, so you can either manage it on the front of the panel or within the panel itself. So that's the family around the X2 series as is. So with that, I shall pass you over to my wonderful colleague who will explain about the application and leave it from the existing panels. Thank you.
Morning, everyone. Yeah, so what we're going to do now is we're going to start having a look at the conversion. We're going to just go over a few items we need to cover before you start the conversion, pretty important items. And then we're going to show a video of the actual conversion rather than do a live demo of it that we'll no doubt make a mess of. We've produced a nice video. So in that video, feel free to ask some questions in the chat. If there's something there we want to have a little look at, and then maybe after the video, if we see what we get, and maybe we can highlight a few important key things from that video. Just a little quick introduction of iX Developer. For those who don't already know, iX Developer is our current HMI software, and this is where the magic happens in the conversion. So iX Developer will take your eDesigner projects and bring them into iX Developer format, so we've got a nice smooth transition. iX Developer comes with all the functionality you're used to from eDesigner, plus many more things, but the complete HMI functionality of alarms, recipes, security, etc. iX is a .NET-based application, so if there's any advanced users out there want to do some advanced screens and advanced scripting, you've got C# editor that you can use to do that. But most of the functions you'll ever need are already native in iX Developer. And yeah, one of the main benefits of Beijer Electronics is how many drivers we have to talk to all the different all the main automation brands. Yes, seamless hardware transition from E1000 EXTER to X2. So on our website, which we'll have a little look at later, there's a very good guide for the transition, for the upgrade of your eDesigner projects. It's very well worth and recommended to have a read of this. Mainly the section before conversion, what you need to do before conversion, and a few items there that detail that aren't converted. The vast majority of your project will be converted, but some of them it's just a little bit too complicated. Also on there is the HMI recommendations. So I've got an E1101. I'm going to go to an X2 Pro 10. There's a list of things on the website to look at there, along with the adapter plates, are also on the website. So in the instance where the old panel is bigger than the new one, we also can supply an adapter plate to make it a nice, quick swap over, so no mechanical changes required. And also on there as an extensive cable guide, since the connector on the X2 is a 9-pin D-type as opposed to the 25-pin D-type on the older panels. How will you save time with auto conversion? Well, like we've already touched on before, iX Developer is where the magic happens, where the conversion's done. The conversion tool has been with us for a few years now, so it's really matured into a solid product, and a solid tool. Most, if not all, of your projects will be converted in the conversion tool, leaving an absolute minimum amount of work to do after the conversion. Very importantly, all your tags come across, so all your so your link to your existing controller will all come across. So if there are any changes to be made, normally they're just a few graphical changes, and there's also then a chance to perhaps improve the look of the screen depending on the time you have. The update tool is continuously improved based on customer feedback and customer needs. We're currently on iX 2.4 SP5, and this has had a few nice features added into it, which we'll have a little look at later. So just before we show the video, a few really important things to do before you do a conversion. Again, these are covered in the guide, but we want to make sure that the eDesigner project is in the latest version. 7.52 build 363 is the latest version of eDesigner. So what we want to open up the project, build it, and test it in that version. Make sure we've got no no problems already in the eDesigner that we're just going to convert into the new IX Developer. Assumption being you're possibly more confident with eDesigner than you are with IX Developer. So anything you can fix in eDesigner is going to help your help a successful conversion. And yes, always recommended to use the latest version of IX Developer. Also, like I said, 2.4 SP5. This comes with all the latest upgrades, any minor bug fixes for the conversion process. So yes, we'll show the video now.
This tutorial shows how easy it is to convert your existing E1000 EXTER application to IX Developer. We will start by having a quick look at the original application in eDesigner. It's a slightly modified version of the E1070 demo project. This application contains most of the features supported by eDesigner, for example, graphical blocks. It also includes a block where recipes are managed. It contains objects with many different types of addresses and data types that are all included in the recipe that we will import later on. The application has two alarm groups, critical and warnings, connected to summary signals that are set and reset when there are active or unacknowledged alarms. There are two alarms in the application. Both alarms contain dynamic alarm objects, such as analog numeric and digital text. Finally, there is a block that allows us to present the alarms in alarm banners, custom alarm indicators that are displayed based on the status of the alarm summary signals, and function keys allowing us to trigger simulation alarms. We will now convert the E1000 application to IX Developer. Start by selecting Import Project. Click on the Browse button and select the E1000 EXTER project that should be converted. Next step is to select which panel the application should be converted to. In this case, the original project was developed for E1070. The suggested migration panel is X2 Pro 10. Select Finish to proceed. A dialog will appear, allowing us to select how the conversion should be carried out. In general, it's recommended to enable all options. In this case, we have a recipe structure that we want to convert. It's found in the following path. The recipe files need to be organized in a special structure for the conversion to succeed. Recipe data is the main folder, and this folder is the one that we have selected in IX Developer. The main folder contains one or more folders with recipe structures to be imported. In this case, printer recipes. The printer recipes folder contains all of the recipes that should be converted to IX Developer. We click on the Import button to start the conversion. The conversion tool will detect if the E1000 EXTER project contains function keys and ask if a special key template screen should be included. When selecting No, the project will be converted to a touch application. If you select Yes, a key template screen will be applied to the converted application. The key template screen contains buttons that emulate function keys, picture objects that emulate LEDs, text objects that present the content of the text strips, and button objects that allow the operator to navigate in the application and acknowledge alarms. Select Yes and the conversion will proceed. Next step is to select which drivers should be used in the converted IX application. The original application used the MELSEC MC protocol driver. This must also be selected for the IX Developer application. While the application is being converted, we can have a quick look at our website. It contains a lot of useful information regarding project conversions. Click on Products and select EOL Guide, EXTER and E1000. Select EXTER E1000 Migration Table to find a complete overview of recommended replacement panels and adapter plates. You can also find an overview of cables, a tutorial video, and most importantly, a conversion guide. You access the conversion guide by clicking on the Here link. The conversion guide is continuously updated. Always make sure to use the latest version, in this case revision A. The conversion is now finalized. Click on Open Log to review the generated warning messages. The converted application has 8 errors, 31 warnings, and 23 information messages. The warnings in the beginning and end of the log file are mainly about E1000 EXTER functions that have not been converted. It's therefore necessary to investigate if the feature was used in the E1000 EXTER project, and if so, implement it in iXDeveloper. In this demo, we will focus on errors. The first couple of errors are related to users with no password. The first blocks were converted without errors and warnings. However, when converting the analog objects block, the numeric table object was discarded. The printer block contains a couple of function keys with recipe-related actions. We will need to manually select which recipe should be used. Let's have a look at the conversion document. It is divided into 3 parts. First, how to prepare the original project before the conversion. Secondly, the steps needed to convert the project to iXDeveloper. And finally, what to consider, review and correct after the conversion has been carried out. If we click on a function such as password and security, the relevant chapter will be opened, and you will find information about typical things to consider and implement. Since we had a couple of errors regarding blank passwords, we will need to review those users and delete them or provide passwords. By searching in the document, we can find information about how to handle the most common issues. Let's search for a couple of errors and warnings that were mentioned in the log file. The error message indicates that the analog numeric table object has been discarded during the conversion. This can be mitigated by creating a series of analog numeric objects instead. Finally, we search for the recipe-related error. The manual informs us that we will need to select the recipe manually for these actions. Back in iXDeveloper, click on OK to open the converted application. We will now review parts of the application and correct a few of the warnings that were identified in the log file. We will start by adding the missing numeric table object to the analog objects screen. Right-click on an existing analog numeric and select Copy. Right-click again and select Paste. Resize the object and make sure that it's connected to the correct tag. Right-click and select Create Series. Type in the number of columns and rows that should be auto-generated. In this case, 3 and 4. Click on OK. The printer screen has been converted and looks OK. The only thing that needs attention is the function keys. We will handle this later. Let's have a look at the alarm configuration. The alarm groups have been converted along with all of the color settings. The alarm items are also converted and connected to dynamic alarm items. Relevant actions have been added to implement support for various E1000 functionality. The alarm summary signals have been implemented as scripts and automatically injected into the application. These scripts are found in the Alarm Server's Script tab. In multi-language, we see that all of the texts and their translations have been converted to iXDeveloper. When reviewing the security, we see that users and user groups have been converted. Since there are a couple of users with empty passwords, we will simply delete these from the application. When opening the tag editor, we see that tags have been created and assigned with controller addresses, data types, offset, and gain, etc. We will now configure the controller. Open the Controllers tab and click on Settings. In the Stations tab, it's possible to define the IP address that the driver should connect to. In this example, 192.168.1.10. The port is changed to 1280. If you're unsure about settings or addressing, then the driver's help file can be accessed by clicking on the Help button. Each communication driver has a unique help file. It contains information such as release notes, settings, addressing, and troubleshooting. Click on OK to accept the new driver settings. Let's have a quick look at the imported recipe as well. Recipe items have been added and connected to the correct tags. Under the Runtime Data tab, we will see all of the imported recipes and their values. The last thing we will need to do before building the application is to correct the recipe actions that were mentioned in the log file. Therefore, we select Function Keys and choose the printer screen. The Save, Load, and Delete recipe actions will now be connected to the imported recipe. Simply click on the ... button and choose the desired recipe, in this case, printer recipes. These steps are repeated for the Save and Delete actions as well. These are a few examples of necessary actions after a conversion. You will need to review the log file and correct all of the necessary warnings and errors. It's always recommended to download the application to the target and verify the functionality as well as the graphical appearance before making any further adjustments of object size or placement in iX Developer. After completing the conversion, all functionality must be fully tested in the target, in the same way as when developing an application from scratch. This means reviewing and testing all screens, buttons, I/O, etc., to make sure that the conversion has not changed the behavior of the application and that it fulfills all requirements. You might need further editing and refinement of the application before it fully matches your requirements. In this demo, we will just simulate the application in order to have a quick look at the converted functionality. You simply build and simulate the application by clicking on the green Run button. The emulated function keys allow us to trigger actions in the application, for example, to change the language. If we navigate to the recipe screen, we will see that all of the converted recipes are available, and that the correct values are written to the tags when loading a recipe. We can use the navigation keys to jump to the previous screen. Let's navigate to the alarm screen and then trigger a couple of simulation alarms. We notice that the alarm texts include dynamic tag values, just as in the original project. The alarms are presented in alarm viewers, and the summary signals control the visibility and blink of the custom alarm indicators. The alarm screen provides an overview of the historical alarms and allows the operator to, for example, acknowledge alarms or show an information screen with more details about the alarm. This was the end of the demo. We hope that you enjoyed it and found the suggested workflow useful.
Okay, welcome back. So let's crack on. Yes, function key templates. As we saw in the video there, and as you all probably know, some of the E1000 panels have function keys. So in the part of the conversion process is to add these function keys by way of a screen template if you want to. Normally, people do add them, but I guess it depends on where you are in the conversion, whether you're doing this proactively or reactively, and whether you've got time to maybe glorify the screens a little bit. But like I say, the templates are there, automatically added by the conversion tool, and normally they're used. We just want to highlight a few new things in iX Developer 2.4 SP5. Like we said before, most, if not all, of your eDesigner project will be converted automatically by the conversion tool. One of the things we were missing in the past was the recipes. The recipe structure in eDesigner is very different to that of iX Developer. iX Developer is much nicer structure and recipe handling by way of CSV file. In the past, they were separate files that you couldn't, you had to open up if you wanted to edit. But now we can do it all in one CSV file. So if you can upload those recipes from your from your E1000, and you can add them into the into IX Developer in the step in the conversion tool we saw right at the start there in one of the tick boxes. Again, alarms have always been converted, but we've had some improvements in this version of IX. Summary signals are now converted along with the dynamic text in the alarm message. Previously, you just left with some hashes, but now we're actually converting the dynamic text as well. So another further improvement on the conversion tool in the conversion tool. Dynamics, again, more improvements on the dynamics. Dynamics are converted and have been, but we've improved those for SP5. So all your active dynamics in the screen as the application is running, these are now all converted in IX Developer, again, minimizing any work you have to do post conversion. The conversion log, we're going to have a little look at that on my laptop in a minute, but the conversion log is a very useful tool and should definitely be looked at after the conversion. It just highlights what's gone on during the conversion process. As we saw in the video, we can see what's gone on with a breakdown of errors and warnings and so on and so forth. So yeah, this should be looked at after the conversion to see what maybe you didn't need to do manually. In SP5 now, the conversion log is also put into an Excel file for easier filtering of issues. So yes, in summary, it's probably a good time for me to share my screen so we can just highlight a few things of the conversion process. So first thing, let's have so hopefully you can see my screen by now. No doubt someone will shout if you can't. So just have a look, just a little quick look at the website again. Under products, HMI panels and EOL guide EXTER 1000. This is your place to go to for your conversion. So as we saw in the video, there's lots of useful information there about the conversion, what goes on with IX Developer. And if we take a look at the migration table, so here we can see the recommended panel size from your E1100 X2 Pro 12. We can also see the cutout size for the old one, the cutout size for the new one, and whether or not there's an adapter plate available. So like we say, we're not only helping you with the conversion in the software, we're also helping you with the mechanical conversion. So if you need an adapter plate to smoothly replace the HMI, they're all there with the part numbers. If we take a look on this tab here, we can see how do you convert your project. So basically import the project, and here you can download the conversion guide, which we can't express often enough how essential this is. So in there, as we saw in the video, it's split into sections. So you're going to want to take a look at these sections here. So to reviewing your eDesigner project, make sure it's as up to date as it can be with the latest version of eDesigner, and that the project is tested. So we can in eDesigner here, so we can see that our latest version here, build 7.52, build 363, and we're going to want a project, and we're going to want to test the project to make sure that the project is valid. So if we see any errors in here, now's our time to fix those before we try and do a conversion. In the conversion log itself, did I open that? So yeah, the conversion log, I previously converted this this older project. So in a folder of your choice, you can put the converted project, and in there we have a folder called conversion log. And when we can see the conversion log, we can see an Excel file and also a PDF file or HTML file. So this is the conversion log, and we can see the errors and the warnings from the log along with the information. So the best way to use this is not necessarily to drill down in your errors, just look at the error, because you want to be able to see where that error occurred. So if you keep the filtering off, would be my suggestion, and then you can scroll down and you can see where these first errors occurred. So these ones are pretty simple anyway. They're the security level, which is a normal error in SP5 if there's no password configured for a user. So you, like we said in the video, we can just go ahead and delete those or add a password if they're needed. But as we come down here a little bit further, we can see here information 4, we're converting this this block here, and in there we've come across a problem. So then we can refer to the conversion log. We can simply do a search on that GR numeric table, go to the section in the conversion log, and it'll tell us what we need to do. And we jump to this section, and so this is a section, the post conversion section, and we can jump to there and it'll tell us about this error and what we can do to solve it. So like I say, the conversion log is essential to take a look at after the conversion to see if what you need to manually solve. So in IX Developer, I just wanted to highlight also, very importantly, is that the tags all come across from your eDesigner project. So we create tags for IX Developer, and this is in this column here. Then we have the controller addresses. So your link to your existing controller is retained. So like I said right at the start of this, normally if there are any changes you need to make or manual work you need to do, it's normally just some graphical changes. Okay, so that is really all I wanted to highlight from there. So just to finish up, a few tips and tricks. So really the manual, said it often enough, the manual's there available on the website where we showed you. Very worthwhile downloading and having a look at. There's also an IX Developer manual available, which we can get hold of for you if you need it. On the website, like we saw, the end-of-life guide for the EXTER and E1000, where we can see the recommended panels, the migration table, where we can see cable guide, where we get the conversion guide. And on our YouTube site, there are a whole myriad of videos available for IX Developer. So there's lots of videos on YouTube, but when you start IX Developer, you've got the samples tab here. This is great. We have a large demo project, which basically is a showcase for IX Developer, and will show all the features of IX Developer. But we've also got lots of little sample projects down here. So for example, if you're doing alarms, you think, well, how do I really do alarms? You can take a look at this sample project. It's a PC application, so you can run and simulate the project on your PC, and you can see how it works, how alarms are created, and how you can configure your own alarms in your own project. So these samples are really worthwhile having a look at for if you're struggling with a specific feature of IX Developer. So yes, as we saw at the start with Ian, the X2 series, a nice broad range of products offering all the functionality you need, along with the different hardware for different environments. Automatic conversion tool, hopefully we've demonstrated here, is absolutely fantastic, and will convert most, if not all of your projects, saving you potentially days of work if you had to start again. Function key templates are important if you're converting the function key panel. And the IX Developer software, where all the magic happens in the conversion, is a much nicer tool, I think, than eDesigner. It's much more graphical. It's very intuitive, easy to use. Most features you need are there ready and waiting, but if you need something that isn't there, we have the C# editor. We've got plenty of examples to how to implement C#. It's not perhaps as scary as you might think. Yeah, hopefully we've shown what we've shown in this this short webinar is how simple the conversion is. It's really something you can do yourself. You don't need to send it to Beijer or send it to any other expert. It's with if you've got a minimal amount of experience with HMIs, this is a conversion you can do yourself, and probably best done yourself. There's certain application specific knowledge that only you might have. So yeah, it's have a go at it. We're here to support. Beijer Electronics is here to support you with it. So if you need help, give us a shout. We're always willing to help. And on here we can see our contact details, so you can contact Beijer Electronics via the website. I think most of you probably have already got your own Beijer Electronics contacts as well anyway. So yeah, give us a shout, let us help. But yeah, give it a go. I think you'll be, I hope and believe you'll be pretty impressed with how it goes. So thanks for joining us. Good luck with any conversions, and yeah, enjoy the rest of the day. Cheerio.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.